What up? What up? What up? Happy 4th of July. May you all celebrate with a cold one. Polar seltzer for me. I will consume a copious amount of seltzers today. That is nearly a certainty as I celebrate. With the fam, go outside, breathe some air. All those things are good. I really need some air breathing today, I would say. And like I said yesterday, Arie McDonald has been a breath of fresh air for the Indiana Fever, who look formidable. I've liked that title before. Fever look formidable, but the Indiana Fever whooped the Las Vegas Aces last night without Caitlin Clark, which is going to be just humorous. It's going to be so good. It's almost like it gives me so much amusement to see the haters like bend themselves into these narratives and back handspring themselves into narratives already because the Fever have won a couple games. Now, let me separate a few things. Number one, Arie McDonald is a beast. I love her. She's awesome. She's such a huge addition to the Fever team. She has changed everything for the team. Her signing is going to go down as the most important one of the season, and it didn't happen in the offseason with all the other hyped moves. The switch from Bonner to McDonald has been absolutely massive. Obviously, not a direct switch position-wise, but a switch roster-wise. And she provides something that the Fever did not have before in the absence of Caitlin Clark, which is, somebody who can play make, somebody who can get downhill, those sorts of things. That is something they were missing. And it's going to be fascinating to see how Stephanie White integrates the players all together in the lineup once Caitlin Clark is back. I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to see Caitlin Clark play with Arie McDonald. I think that's going to be awesome. The biggest challenge is the size, because ideally you just play Clark, McDonald, Mitchell together, but you're a little small that way. But the Fever have gotten it done with defense. They were all over the place against the Aces. What was the point total the Aces had? It was like the worst ever. I think it was the worst in franchise history. And that's back-to-back games if you look at it with the Lynx, because the Lynx, didn't score either. These all bode well. This is what Becky Hammon said. The quote is, "That's a complete lack of professionalism. I don't know how you step on the court with 20,000 people in the stands and perform like that." So the Fever had Becky Hammon saying that, who, by the way, the Aces traded for NaLyssa Smith, traded a first-round pick for NaLyssa Smith, and then threw her right into there. So they got what's coming to them. Fever fans should have known that. They should have tipped Becky off about what might go on there. So there was that. And then, you look at the Fever as a whole, they're rotating, they're doing everything great out there. Even Caitlin Clark is saluting Stephanie White for technical fouls. Good vibes. It's all been good vibes, especially since the Commissioner's Cup. But in the midst of this, I knew this was coming. I called it last night. And all of a sudden, you've got folks saying, like, the Fever are more dangerous. I mean, I use the exact words that Carolyn Peck said on live ESPN television. Here it is. The Fever are more dangerous without Caitlin Clark.
You were at that game just now. Look, the Fever have been on a tear. They've won 2 in a row, a 25-point blowout of the Lynx in the Commissioner's Cup final, and then 27 against the Aces in this one. And both of those games without Caitlin Clark. How is Indiana getting this done right now?
Look, I think that Indiana is even more dangerous when Caitlin Clark doesn't play because she's a ball-dominant guard. The ball's in her hands a lot, so you know what you need to try to take away. But when you look at Indiana now, they've got so many weapons. And Kelsey Mitchell is playing out of her mind. Aaliyah Boston, I talked to Stephanie White before the game. She said in year 1, Aaliyah Boston was back to the basket. Year 2, two-man game. Year 3, they're using her as a decision maker. And so when you have a point guard like Kelsey Mitchell and Arie McDonald making plays on the perimeter and a post like Aaliyah Boston, I'm going to tell you, Indiana, they are a threat, and specifically on the defensive end. Stephanie is so pleased with the intensity that they're bringing defensively with their length, their switches. I mean, they've wreaked havoc.
That was great, except for the one sentence. Remove the one sentence, and I got no issues with that. More dangerous without. Look, I get a different look without. Maybe even in a short-term scouting report, I could get the argument. Like you're so used to playing them a certain way, and then you're playing them a different way, and it's harder to adjust to. Fine. More dangerous without Caitlin Clark is insanity, obviously. The truth of the matter is this. You want to know what the truth of the matter is? The folks who are saying that know that the ass whooping tour is on the way. The ass whooping tour is on the way. It is coming. It is revving up. They got the tour dates. I know Caitlin Clark shot some tour dates in her little slump, but they got some tour dates on the way once Clark gets back to 100%, and the ass whooping tour is coming in full effect. I think the Fever are the best team in the league. I do. I've said they were right there before. Now I've seen enough. I've seen them beat the Liberty. I've seen them beat the Lynx without Caitlin Clark. I know who Caitlin Clark is. I believe in their head coach. I believe in the addition of Aari McDonald. If they can get consistent production from Natasha Howard, if they can get, the productive minutes they've gotten from Michaela Timpson, maybe another roster addition, we shall see. But this is talk about dangerous. This is a dangerous team. And that's why the haters are in shambles. Because, look, when Clark was out at first, you didn't see this. They would have giddy upped if it happened then. But the Fever lost to the Sun. They lost to the worst team in the league without Clark. They lost to the Sparks without Clark. They lost to the Mystics without Clark. Their record is better with Clark in the lineup than without Clark in the lineup. Their numbers are better with Clark in the lineup than without Clark in the lineup. The net rating, any way you look at it, I mean, it's not even worth entertaining. What it really shows you is that the folks know that the ass whooping tour is on the way. So that's how I would take that. Honest to goodness, that's how I would take that. And a big win for the Fever. A couple other news bits to get to before I get to the comments section. Appreciate the member chats. Appreciate the super chats as always. Of course, you also have Caitlin Clark being coached by Cheryl Reeve in the All-Star game. I wrote about this morning. Hopefully, of course, Caitlin is healthy enough to play. That's number one. But the All-Star game is a big deal. In the WNBA, it is a big deal. It was the most viewed thing of last season amidst all that hype of last season. And you had the built-in storyline, of course, of Clark going up against the Olympic team that she was snubbed from. And you want to capture something going into this year. And I think you did with Clark getting voted 9th, Aaliyah Boston getting voted 9th. All of a sudden, you've got an Indiana Fever versus everybody narrative going. And at the same time, on top of that, you've got what's going on with Cheryl Reeve now as the coach of Caitlin Clark's team. Captain Caitlin Clark, coach Cheryl Reeve. And why is that, interesting? Well, it brings the whole Olympics thing full circle. Cheryl Reeve was the coach of Team USA, not in charge of the roster, but nonetheless a lightning rod in the midst of that. Cheryl Reeve had the things to say online about the Fever and Clark receiving outsized attention to the rest of the league, which Christine Brennan has brought up in her book tour. That's become a thing. And Cheryl Reeve won't bite her tongue. She said that the shit was stolen from us about the WNBA finals, right? So this is all, adding up to intrigue. Not to mention, she's a great coach, right? She's a great coach. So, and she did shower Clark with praise last year, midseason, whenever that game was, when the Fever played the Lynx. I believe it was the last time they played them. And Clark obviously is going to, do her thing. So it's just like a nice, interesting subplot to throw into the mix and worth mentioning, I think. It's cool. Like, we like storylines attached to sports, and I think it's a cool little storyline to add to the All-Star game. Fever versus everybody, Clark and Cheryl Reeve together. And of course, the game is from Indianapolis. So that is cool. I think that is cool. In a couple other bits, last night, Satu Sabali made her return to Dallas and seemed confused that fans might boo her a little bit. That's what happens. That's sports. Yo,
The city booed me, so I'm moving on. I was happy to see everyone in the back and hug everyone, and I was actually really happy to come here. But then I guess it's also a sign of respect to be booed, so I'll take that.
and she's had a heck of a year. But that's what happens in sports. Yeah, they boo you, especially when you won out like Sabali did. So I don't understand. Sometimes, like in the she's entitled to feel the way she feels, of course. But some of the reactions to things in the WNBA are outside of what I have experienced in consuming sports. And in the midst of that, by the way, Paige Beckers continues to play well. She has a rookie cavalry next to her, as it was Isaiah James in the game yesterday. But you also have JJ Quinterly there. And the Wings would be smart to start building around the young core, those rookies. I wonder what that means for Arike Ogunbowale going forward. The Wings have certainly looked like a better team. I don't dislike Arike, by the way, but the Wings have looked like a better team when I've watched and she hasn't been on the floor. Obviously, they shipped Alyssa Smith out. Dejanay Carrington hasn't played either. I don't know why they even made that move in the first place. But there you have it. And when I was talking about the coaching real quick, back to the top, now Stephanie White has outcoached Becky Hammon and Cheryl Reeve back to back. And the Aces couldn't get by with just the A'ja Wilson whistle in the contest yesterday. It wasn't enough. A'ja Wilson's catches ball. A'ja Wilson goes to free throw line. That formula was not enough to defeat the Indiana Fever, who look awesome and are scheduling their ass-whooping tour around the return of Caitlin Clark and the way that they've been able to play without Caitlin Clark. And they've been able to develop without Caitlin Clark as well, which is important for them going forward. It's important for them going forward to know how to play without her and for her to trust them and not need to play make everything, and for her to be able to get off the ball and get easier shots and not be hounded and picked up full court, especially as dangerous as the teams are. But there you have it. That's the deal. That's the situation. And that's what you guys are going to comment on. Like and subscribe, all that good stuff. Por favor, please. Make sure you get that in. And I will get to the super chats and member chats now. Not going to stay on too long today, guys. I know everybody's got things to do, people to see, places to be, most likely. But, yeah. It's fun. Kevin Zwicker, no CC, no problem last night for the Fever. Happy 4th, everyone. Enjoy the glizzies on the grill. Hot dogs, right? That's what a glizzy is. Let's see. Did Joey Chestnut thing happen yet? Is he still doing that? Are we still following Joey Chestnut? I don't know. I haven't the Kobayashi thing is done. But I think Joey Chestnut came back. Didn't he get banned or something for a sponsorship deal? Now he's back, I have to imagine. Anyhow, there you have it. Lauren Allen says, thank you, Robin. As a newer B-ball fan, it's hard not to get down listening to anti-CC narratives. I miss CC hoops, but happy to see the Fever thrive. Yeah, just ignore. Who cares? It's coping. It's really coping from the other side of things. It has nothing to do with Fever fans or Caitlin Clark. I mean, anyone with a brain knows that the Fever aren't better without Caitlin Clark. And anyone who's ever watched sports has seen, this pop up with star players before. They do it. It happens all the time. Star player is out. The team plays good without them. And the real story is that the Fever no longer are futile without Caitlin Clark. They're improved around Caitlin Clark. They're equipped to play without Caitlin Clark for spurts or with Caitlin Clark in a different role. All those things are great signs. Not who cares about the other thing. Again, that's because they know the ass whooping tour is coming. Honest to goodness, that's why. Personal stash. Fever have won 6 of the last 7 games, including the Commissioner's Cup game. Go Fever. Yeah. I mean, they look good. There's no doubt about it. I was telling y'all, though, I've been telling y'all that I think, you know, the Fever are good all year. Even when they were losing some of the, I kept a positive outlook on it. I don't think anybody could say I didn't. I got heat for it. For not jumping on the coach. I got heat for it. But I believed it. And the Fever are good. I think the Fever are the best team. When they're healthy, I think they're going to be the best team. TXZ06 says, what do you see as the 5 players when CC and Ari are both playing? See, that's the dilemma. I mean, I think you probably see Ari come off the bench as the 6th player with Sophie is my guess. But how that gets balanced and how many really small lineups Stephanie White throws out there is going to be interesting. BKJ says, Robin seems uneasy about really stating the truth, which is what? Tell me what I'm uneasy about. Because if y'all going to come with that like cryptic crap and criticize me, tell me what you're criticizing me for or what your cryptic crap is about. What's going on, Ben? Happy 4th of July to everybody out there. These are so good. Jay Hovish, it's time for the Clarkies to stop and faking and declare Boston the best player on the Fever. Y'all are not going to... This doesn't... Aaliyah Boston has been awesome. You know, Fever fans are thrilled to see Leah Boston play the way she's playing. And here's one for you. If you want to play this little game, who's better, Aaliyah Boston or A'ja Wilson? You want to play that game that you're playing right there with your comment? Let's play it. Because last 2 times head-to-head, I don't think it's been decisive. Right? So we're going to go off those sample sizes. You might have a case that AB's better than A'ja Wilson, right? Especially if she got her whistle. She definitely would be, right? Let's play the games. You all want to play the games. I know how to play the games. Brooklyn Whitey says, you're the only New York City sports journalist I see that keeps light on the WNBA and Fever. Well, I mean, you know, I can understand why Fever isn't necessarily the number 1 target for the New York demographic, but I do think, given the popularity, obviously it could stand to be covered more as a whole. There's no question about that. No question about that. Member chat, super chats go first. Tulip Play says, trade Arike for Aaliyah Edwards if you're smart. That, you know, that's interesting for both sides. Because when I say the Arike thing, it's not because I dislike Arike again. It's just based on the way they've played. Special Whistle Wilson is her real name. All right, guys. Member chats, super chats go first. Red Tangent says Fever fans were all screaming for the coach to be fired a week ago. I wasn't. Y'all, I play this game with people on social media too. Y'all can hold me accountable for what I say, bro. You may hold me accountable for random folks. You know, or what somebody online said. You hold me accountable for what I said. Yeah, that ass whooping tour on the way. That's coming. That's on the way. Chris Ward says, happy 4th of July. Why are they keeping Bree Turner? Do you think based on their play, they have a chance at Miesemann? I mean, they're keeping Bree Turner because they signed Bree Turner. She's on the roster. Why would they cut her? They only have 11 players. I mean, players have teams have players that ride the bench, y'all. That's part of the game. If anything, the Fever should be adding a player, not getting rid of any players at this point. It was one thing when you were talking about like the McDonald's situation, and I'm not to say that I'd be devastated if Bree Turner got cut. She isn't bringing it, but I don't think it's really a topic. Peggy says, hi, chat. Here in Indy, waiting for Rosalina to arrive, going to the Sparks game, getting to sit behind the Fever bench. There you go. Have fun, guys. Well, Slime, you can't lie. The Fever look better without CC turnovers and cone defense. Then why, by every measurable statistic, are they better with Caitlin Clark on the floor than off? What are you basing that on? You can't even spell cone right when you're trolling. Sorry, guys. Not going to work. Not going to work. I don't think the Fever have beaten in a regular season game a team over 500 without Caitlin Clark, by the way. Either. You know, I don't believe. So, you guys got to deal with it. Make cap room, says Chris Ward. Oh, Clark should come off the bench. Oh, yeah, that's right. That's what's going to happen, guys. Caitlin Clark, the single most popular player in the history of the sport, the player who had the most offensive production in the history of the sport last year, who is averaging, despite struggles, like 20 and 10, is the most famous basketball player on the planet, not named LeBron James or Steph Curry. Based on their careers, who is the face of what the All-Star weekend is going to be, who has single-handedly driven up the interest in the league while also producing at a historic rate, who joined a team that sucked and then made the playoffs last year with her back. She's coming off the bench. That's right. That's what's happening, guys. That is what's happening. Dude, CC is like a scrambling quarterback. So you mean effective? Because every good quarterback can scramble nowadays. All of them. All of them. All right, member chats, super chats, get them in. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. You know, that's the way the cookie crumbles. It's pretty funny. I love it. The Hatelins are sick. That's right. Oh, my goodness. Just makes you smile. It's just glorious. The sweet tears of unfathomable sadness. Cartman tears. Let's see if I can get that up real quick. Yeah, here we go. This is what it's like for Caitlin Clark and Fever haters right now, that they'll concoct anything. But this is where we're at with them.
Who are you?
With that band, Radiohead. Jeez, what a little crybaby. You gonna cry all day, crybaby?
You know, everyone has problems. It doesn't mean you have to be a little crybaby about it.
Come on, guys, let's go. This kid is totally not cool.
Yeah, that's the most uncool kid I've ever met.
Little crybaby.
No, wait! Wait! Oh my god! Oh my god! Yes! Yes! Oh, let me taste your tears, Scott. Your tears are so yummy and sweet. Dude, I think it might be best for us to never piss Cartman off again. Good call. Oh, the tears of unfathomable sadness. Yummy. Yummy, you guys.
There you go. That's what it's like. That is exactly what it's like right now. Let's go to Douglas Meyer. Have you taken a look at the Sky's upcoming schedule? It's brutal. They play the Lynx 4 times in the next 2 weeks. I haven't really gotten too deep into the Sky schedule. No. But interesting. I'll have to look at it. They've played a little better lately. Thank you for all the super chats, guys. Daniel Green, you keep it real. Robin, thanks. Happy 4th. Thank you. Appreciate that. B. Harris, because you keep it fair and balanced. Swing, swing, bang with CC back. Yeah, that's going to be interesting to see how they move the ball, how they integrate her. That's the real challenge, is how Stephanie White formulates this rotation, how she makes it work, all those things. Like, there is a challenge to it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying there ain't a challenge to it, but it's a good challenge. Those are good problems. Certainly not bad ones. John says, love how the Trolls don't think the Aces might just be a bad team and the Lynx had a bad game. Fever are better, but with CC will be amazing. Yeah, the Aces suck. Let's be blunt about it. They stink. So that's what I was mad about the Fever. I blamed Caitlin Clark for that first Aces loss. The Fever have no business losing to the Aces. They're a far superior team to the Aces. The Aces are not good. So there's that. Or you can get any other member chats, super chats in, guys, while I am live, of course. But, you know, those are obviously interesting. You know, it's interesting times. I'm going to do one quick question here, one quick off-topic thing, because I threw this out online last night. And, you know, 4th of July, holidays like this, summertime cruising, makes me think of music. And I had this thought last night of, you know, it's not a new thought experiment, and these things change all the time. But I picked the 5 musical artist catalogs. If I could only keep 5 for the rest of time, who would they be? And for me, right now, that list is at this very moment in time. I reserve, you know, it would have been different in a past version of me. Maybe it'll be different in the future. But right now, if I had to make this choice, obviously Jay-Z. I'm taking Kendrick Lamar now after the last year. I need Euphoria on a loop. GNX on a loop, not to mention what he did before that, which was great on its own. But that put it over the top for me. Fleetwood Mac. I love Fleetwood Mac in this kind of weather. Same as Tom Petty. That's 4. And then the last one is Wu-Tang Clan. And I'm including all the solo albums with Wu-Tang Clan because I have to have Liquid Swords. So those are my top 5. Jay-Z Bingo says Tulip plays. Matthews Muses says, hey, couple more minutes, guys, before I got to get out of here. But just a nice little holiday show to acknowledge me. Seeing CC and the gang after the Commissioner's Cup was classic. Yeah, I mean, that's a team that's coming together, right? You see that with the chemistry also. They're coming together, which is a cool thing to see. In good shape. Looking good. Feeling good. Feeling the flow. Working it. All those things. All right, get those thumbs up in, likes, comments, all that. Anything else you guys got? Hit me up in the next minute or two. I do hope you have a fun time today. I do hope you stay safe, obviously. Be careful with the people driving. Drinking, be careful with that. Yeah, I don't drink other than this. Matthews Muses told you they look supercharged after the cup. Yeah, good call. Good call. Dusty Tail says JW Marriott has a huge Caitlin billboard, maybe the biggest ever on the hotel. Amazing. I'll be out there for All-Star. Thank you, Mrs. Maffey. Thank you, Major T. Magruder. Beatles, Zepp, Floyd, Fleetwood, Bengals. There you go. That's not quite Stoics picks. You know, I'm a hip-hop head at heart, but I definitely mixed in the Petty and the Fleetwood Mac. They're in my rotation. They're in my rotation. But hit me up with the thumbs up, likes, subscribe, all that. Any feedback, always open to as well. Crank That 22, Outcast, System of a Down, Kendrick Lamar, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Frank Ocean. There you go. Good calls, good picks. Any other lists real quick before I sign off? No, that's about it for me, y'all. All right. That'll do it. Hope you guys have a happy 4th, good time, whatever you're doing, whatever you're celebrating, whoever you're with. Always appreciate you. Always enjoy you guys being in here. Yeah, I don't know why Alyssa Smith, that didn't make any sense to me. Retro Hairstyle says, I mean, maybe tomorrow, maybe Wednesday. We'll see. At worst, All-Star. At worst. But I would hope before then. All right. Talk to you guys on the next one. Enjoy your day. Yeet.